Hello, everyone, and welcome to When Words Fail, Music Speaks. My name is Blake. I am joined by James today. We have a very special guest that we have on the show. We're very excited to do this interview. Our next guest here is Mr. Gene Hoglan. Some of the many bands that he has been in, Dark Angel, Death Clock, Devin Townsend, Mechanism, Meldrum, Strapping Young Lad, Tenet, Testament, The Almighty Punch Drunk, Zimmer's Hole. Gene reunited with Testament in 2011 and played on their 10th studio album, Dark Roots of Earth, in 2012. He had 14 days to complete his additions to the record before flying to LA to record Galacticon 2. And the day he finished that, he flew up to Canada and played shows with Zimmer's Hole. And then Gene contributed to the Slayer song Chemical Warfare by holding Dave Lombardo's drum kit together because there was no carpet in the studio. I've been in a very similar situation. So Gene made history by being the first extreme metal drummer to be featured on 2 top 15 albums in a 3-month period. Testament's Dark Roots of the Earth debuted at number 12 on the Billboard charts. Death Clock's Death Album 3, hit number 10 on the Billboard. And then Gene became an influence on Dave Lombardo's drumming and speed. Although Gene never gave him lessons, he did give Dave tips on his double kick. So Gene made history by being the first extreme, as we mentioned before. Well, that note just repeated, so all good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, thank you for tuning in. But welcome, Mr. Gene Hoglan. Gene, thank you so much for being here today.
Howdy, fellas. How are you guys? It's my pleasure. Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I found it amazing that. Well, I'm just gonna come out right and say it. I know you don't remember me because you met 100 fans, 1 million fans, right? So I do have a picture of you and me together, if because I mentioned it in your Twitch channel.
Bad. That's right on, James.
Yeah. So do you mind if I show you our picture together? All right. So let me do this and get rid of that, and bam.
Look at that.
Oh, Molly, boy, that was way back. I bet you that was. Let me take a look at this.
That was at the Death Clock show. So I think it was 2005, maybe.
Probably 2007, perhaps.
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, I was a big man back then. Let me tell you.
Yeah. But you look fantastic now, man. So how did you? Was it like a diet that you stuck to, or?
Yeah, a diet of straight cocaine and methamphetamines.
Yes.
That's my joke. No, I just when I was playing with Fear Factory, I'd gone to my doctor, and my doctor had mentioned to me, well, he admonished me. He was like, bro, let me tell you, next time you come in, if you do not get your numbers together, you're going to have to start jabbing insulin, because I was diabetic. And I was like, well, there's no way I'm doing that. And so I came home and I mentioned the meeting to my wife, and my wife, Laura, who's an uber health nut and, has been her entire life. She's like, all right, dude, I've been patient with you for the last couple of years, eating double cheeseburgers all the time. Now, your doctor's telling you this. Now, tell you what, I'm going to put you on a plan, and within you're going to do everything I tell you to do. And within 3 to 6 months, you're not going to have diabetes anymore. Oh yeah, and you're going to be losing a whole bunch of weight. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm good for this, because A, I don't want to start jabbing, and
Sure.
B, I don't want to die. So
no, we don't want you to die. We want you to.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm about 180 something pounds down now from
Nice.
about that area.
Yeah.
I was pushing 400 in that photo there.
Right.
Probably 390 or something like that. And then I ended up gaining another 20 pounds in Fear Factory. Go figure. And then that's when it was like, okay, we're going to do a direct U-turn on your lifestyle. And so it's been awesome ever since.
Yeah. Well, it was a thrill for me to meet you back then, because not only do you play in some of my very favorite bands of all time, you gave us brownies that day.
Oh,
So Yeah, so we me and my friends dubbed them the Death Clock Brownies.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, they were brownies, boys.
Yeah, no man, they were good. They were awesome. Yeah, so thank you for that day. That was a very special day for me.
Right on, Jay.
Um,
Very cool.
so I'm going to ask you this because this is a once in a lifetime event. This COVID virus, just shut down everything last year. How did you cope with it, or are you still coping, or like where you are is it all still shut down, or?
Well, I live in San Diego, and it is still relatively shut down. You know, the mask mandate is in place, and I've got my mask at all times.
Yeah.
Um, at first, like, we Testament was we were on the tour when we were on a tour when COVID broke out. It was ourselves and Exodus and Death Angel, and a lot of people from the tour came home with COVID, and it was a matter of there were shows, just spot shows being canceled here and there. And for instance, like we got our final show canceled, and so it's pretty much all right, everybody. We're gonna head home, wait this out, see what happens. We have no idea. And a lot of the guys from all three bands, some of the crew, they caught COVID on the road, and I got home. I didn't really know what to do, so I just put myself on quarantine for 2 weeks. I was like, I guess that's probably the best I can do, just in case I'm walking around with it. And I am one of those people that I happen to think I might have gotten COVID back in December of 2019, because I spent some time in China, about 500 miles from Wuhan. And when I got back from, we were touring. Testament had gone out to play. We were playing Kathmandu, Nepal, which entailed a few hour layover on the way in and on the way out from Nepal in China. And I went to the lounge and I ate the buffet, the gorgeous buffet in the lounge there, in the American Airlines lounge or whatever. And when I got home, I was slightly under the weather. I don't get sick anymore. I've only ever had the flu on years that end in 7. 1977, 1987, 1997, 2007. Like 3 of those I was on tour for. And so I blew past 2017 not being sick, and I am so healthy now that I just assume I'm never going to be sick ever again. I'm never going to have the flu ever again. But I did come back with something, just I was feeling low for 3 or 4 days. And then another few days after that, it just kind of lingered. And I ended up infecting my entire family. And
Oh no.
everybody got sick. And my brother-in-law, he had gone to Florida. And within a week, his dad passed away.
Oh.
From a mystery, unknown lung situation. And so, we were just like, wow, we were feeling really bad for my brother-in-law. His dad was up there. His dad was like 95, but it was like, wow, mystery illness, terrible. Then it wasn't until, like, say, April of 2020, or maybe even May of 2020, where we just started kind of doing like hey, wait a minute. Like, back in December, I was a little sick. I got everybody in the family flu-like symptoms, like, so what? What does that mean? So even though I may have had it, I may not have. I've never had a test on it or anything. I still take every precaution for all of that. But the main thing that it did for, obviously, the entertainment industry is it created a cease, instant stop.
Right.
Nobody doing anything. And I will admit that is ball crushing for a working musician.
Sure.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so, that's where I after I started feeling, well, I was already feeling okay. After I did my little 2-week quarantine, I was like, well, gosh, it was starting to. We hadn't quite had everything shut down on us yet. Like, all right, guys, there is no touring anymore. So I just thought, well, I guess probably the best thing I could do is head down to the studio as much as I can. My wife Laura and I, we have our project together. We were doing a lot of jamming, and I was just like, well, all you can do is just while you're biding your time is work on your chops. Keep your chops up. So in case it's like, hey man, we all hit the road real soon, I don't have a month of like, oh man, I really got to get my action back together. It's like, okay, I'm ready to go whenever. And that eventually kind of led to Twitch, my Twitch stream. And like I've mentioned on the channel many times, Mr. Alex Bent and his lovely wife, Christina, they were very integral in me getting my Twitch stuff together. And they were so helpful and taught me through all the little obstacles that you have. And, and that's where it was kind of like, well, since I have to come down and jam quite a bit, might as well, open up the Twitch stream to a bunch of folks and let's everybody just kind of be a fly on the wall. Like I bluff my way through every single stream, man. There's nothing planned. You can tell, man. There's nothing I say that's ever planned, really. It's all just stream of consciousness, and that corner up there is usually where I'm pointing at my brain. That's where my brain tends to head up there when I'm doing my Twitch stream. But yeah, so it was I just thought, well, kind of a fun way just to kind of, most importantly, keep your chops up, and who knows where this could lead. So, and it's been just an absolute joy to be doing. It's so fun, it's challenging work, absolutely, but it's super fun. Made a bunch of great pals and stuff like that. So I'm stoked. So,
well, I will tell you that one of the things that saved me throughout this time is watching your Twitch stream, because I was like, oh, Gene Hoglan is on Twitch, I gotta watch this, right? And so I remember that you told me on Twitch or toward the Atomic Club is what you call it. I gave you a workout because I requested the song, the Foo Fighter song, My Hero.
Oh,
and
I remember that.
Yeah. So you told me that I gave you a real workout with the pedals. Yeah. Like, all right. Yeah. So I had to record it and save it, so I got it in my files. So that's cool. Yeah. But you do take everything with ease, because I found it like fascinating that you play any requests and you try your best, or you do know it. You just play it, to your ability.
Well, I'm happy to butcher for anybody. Like if I don't know the song, like who cares, man? Just have fun and just it. That's why I'm. I will admit, when I first started, it's like I would come down and I'd put like say 5 songs together that I'm going to play, and I would rehearse those songs and I'd get them down. You have to play them perfect, you just have to. And then we threw that out the window after about a month of ball crushing bag breakery there. I'm like, shoot, man, just then. I don't even remember how the requests actually started, but I was like, okay, yeah, somebody else's brain gets to be put to use in thinking up some songs, because I'm tapping myself out,
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, hey man, I'll try anything, and like I've said many times, I've got a few caveats. If it's some song that's like blistering grind with lots of breaks, and it's just gonna have me like stopping and figuring it out, all that stuff. It's like, ooh, let's keep the flow flowing, everybody. But I'll give anything a shot. And I love it when somebody throws out some completely obscure, non-metal, just fun something, and like some classic rock even or something, because not too shabby playing the old classic rock there. So yeah, it's a really good time. And as you know, James, we like to, we like to do our best, or I do, try to promote a little bit of positivity, try to bring a little bright spot to folks. And I realize I'm as fallible a human being as anybody, you know. Like there's some days when I start crabbing about something, and afterwards I'm like, well, why the hell were you crabbing about that nonsensical whatever you were crabbing about this band or this genre or whatever? I haven't brought that up this week. Like, you know, that's why I always tell everybody, never take anything I say seriously. If I'm crabbing about a band or if this band is your favorite band, but I happen to not, you know, understand what you might understand about this band, that's just me being a fan, you know, and I'm gonna argue for my points and stuff like that.
Right.
Nobody take it seriously. So we just try to have a good time around there. So hopefully everybody does, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. So you started playing drums at the age of 13, correct?
The actual drum kit, just about. Yeah, I'd gotten to noodle a little bit when I was 12, sort of thing.
Okay.
So, but I got my first kit when I was 13.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Oh, my first kit I did get when I was 13.
Okay. What brand was it?
It was a Slingerland.
Ooh.
And as for the brand, I cannot remember exactly what it was, but it was a 5-piece kit, and it was giant. Like it was like a 14, a 15, an 18, and a 26 on the kick. And it was chrome finish, and I was like, ooh, that's pretty darn sharp. And we my folks bought it for me for like, God, I don't know, like $300 off one of my sister's friends who was just getting rid of it. So I was like, cool, man, I got myself a kit, and I lived on that thing until I broke it all to hell.
So you taught yourself how to play drums. Was there anything that you did like before that got you interested? Did you do some like air drumming or like pots and pans or anything like that? Or
I was absolutely an air drummer, big time. I mean, I taught myself how to play drums by air drumming, you know, and
fun.
I was a, you know, bed and pillow pounder.
Right.
And, you know, I've mentioned it on the stream and in many interviews, like the entire reason I'm an open-handed player is merely where my record player was placed when I was being a little air drummer, being a little bed pounder. Sure. I would sit on this side of my bed with my legs hanging off, and therefore my record player was right there. So I'm over on this side playing the bed kind of like this with my legs hanging down over here. And so if you notice in the top corner of your bed, it's high and tight. And then boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. And so it was like, okay, well, I guess the middle part of my bed is going to be the kind of bass drum sort of that kind of thing. That was the whole reason why I'm an open-handed drummer.
Nice. Yeah, because my next question was going to be, are you an open-handed drummer or like a cross-hand, right? So do you find it more easier, I guess you would call it, than the cross drum, because it seems to me like technically the open arm drummer would be more sufficient getting around the drum kit. Am I right?
Well, yes, we are, and that's what I think. And the great thing about being an open-handed drummer is you don't have this going on. You got this, you know,
right.
And since I am open-handed and this is my lead hand, I tend to throw all my licks start, for the most part, you know, I'd say 95% of them start with the left hand. So that means you got to do a little something to get down the tom, you know, like, so for the first, God, I don't know, 15 or 20 albums I put out, I didn't care about where the toms were or what I'm hitting. I mean, you could hear like toms that are not just going, they're like, you know, that kind of thing. Like, hit them in time, and it doesn't matter that you got to go down this way. And, you know, here's a bunch of tom, here's a bunch of tom, here's a bunch of tom. No, man, they're just throw out the hands and just see where they fall kind of thing. So there you go. But yeah, I think so. And I think it's you're not constrained. You know, you got full power, and here I don't even play like that all that often. I tend to do, you know, I'm kind of a wrist kind of guy. I don't use a lot of arm when I play. But for those who do, You're not constrained by, God damn, I really want to use a lot
Yeah.
of arm, but I got this and this. And especially my hi-hat is so low. It's like, I feel bad for cross-handed drummers. They're like, yeah, I'm like, hey, bro, go sit on my kit, go try it out. And they, they're
And
like,
they're like, oh no.
what the hell? How do you play that thing down there? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I keep my hi-hat just right next to me where I don't have to. I get to lay my arms down. I don't have to go up or anything. They're just hanging out. They're hanging out, dangling.
Cool.
It's all about comfort, especially if you've got a long show ahead of you. You want to be comfortable.
Absolutely, and I am all about comfort, man. I've spent 95% of my life getting comfortable.
That's what it is all about. So you're known as the atomic clock and the human drum machine. So where and when did you get those nicknames, or did you did you give them to yourself?
No shit, no, no. Human drum machine. I have zero idea wherever that one came from.
Okay.
I don't know who came up with that one, but I am not a machine by any. I'm very human. Machine. No. But the atomic clock, that was something that the heathen from Zimmer's Hole, he coined me that one time, and just as kind of a little bit of fun, it was on Strapping's Alien album.
Yeah.
Where it was, I listed myself as, Gene Hoglan. I didn't say drums. I put the atomic clock. But then whoever was putting the layout of the album together must have thought, oh, he forgot to put the word drums down. No, I was trying to put the atomic clock for the beat of the, just the pulse of the album. And so they put, Gene Hoglan, the atomic clock, drums. And that's where people just, people would, whatever drum interviews I was doing at the time, whatever interviews I was doing, that was the latest thing where they saw my name. So they're like, oh, you're called the atomic clock, eh? And so that's really where it came from. And I don't think it's because I'm any, tighter or anything. Anybody can play to a click track. I mean, I'm pretty solid with the click track, but anybody can do that. So it's like, what in the world does atomic clock even mean? Well, I like to think that it means, I will just keep running. You cannot stop me. You can't slow me down. I am committed to giving you the best drums possible. So we'll figure it out from there, kind of thing.
All right. So there's one question that I've been meaning to ask you since I have you on here, and I can't ask you this right now. I find your double bass sound so amazing. I find it curious, how did you develop your quickness of your feet that that fast? Because I think everybody says atomic clock is a time machine or something, and you are just on the ball about timing. So yeah.
Well, the atomic clock is like the world's clock.
Right.
That's what we we all base our time on the atomic clock. However, it's like developing the speed. That really came from sitting down with Dave Lombardo the first time, because his was the very first double bass kit that I think I'd ever played. And I've mentioned it here and there many times. It's like I had gone over to Tom's house. That's where they would rehearse, and you see a lot of old rehearsal photos, and them in like a garage type thing, which it was essentially Tom's parents' garage, and they just built it into a little rehearsal studio and stuff like that. And I came over there to catch a rehearsal at one point, and it was before they went in to record Haunting the Chapel, and Dave had a double bass set up now. And I was like, where'd you get this, man? It's like, I remember that you played one show with double bass back in 1983. It was it was an outdoor show in a place called Pico Rivera, and you had double bass, and I didn't remember you playing a whole lot of it, but you had double bass going there, Dave. He's like, yeah, man, I've been trying to get it. I'm just not getting it, man. I know what the guys want me to be playing, and I'm not getting it. And so I was like, okay, well, shoot, man, let me try some stuff out. And so,
Yeah.
Since I had just an aptitude for it, I guess, I sat behind his kit and I just started flying and I, just hauling. And he was like, dude, my word, like, I've played your kit. When did you get a double? How long you been playing double bass? I've been to your house. I played your kit. and,
Right.
and I'm like, and I literally, I looked at my watch. I was like, what time is it? I've been playing double bass for 3 minutes. This is it, dude. He's like, well, tell me what you're doing. Show me what you're doing. And I'm like, well, let me see. I'm concentrating really hard on my left foot. And you see, I'm trying to make sure. And he's like, yeah, my left foot, that's the problem. I'm really slow with it. I can't get it to go like that. I can only get it to kind of do and so I was like, well, let's just concentrate. So I sat there with him for a half hour. We worked out stuff, and he's like, dude, this is better than a lesson, man. This is helping me out tons, man. Thank you for this. And so when they were tracking, it wasn't that long before they went in to do the chemical warfare thingy and Haunting the Chapel EP. And so I stood in the bathroom because the kit was right there, while he's playing, while he's doing Haunting the Chapel. And they only needed me for because he did Capture of Sin, didn't need a drum carpet. Chemical Warfare needed. I stood behind Dave. I air drummed Capture of Sin, stand behind him as he's tracking it.
That's
and
awesome.
I think back to all those days. I'm just like, how patient and polite these guys were. Like, here I am waving my arms, full distraction. I hit him in the back after one of his licks that he did because I didn't like that lick that he did. He's God, just call that. And so when it came to Haunting the Chapel, which was a brutal double bass, it still is. I sat we shut the door to the bathroom and I just opened it up a crack and I got the lights off. I'm like, Dave, you're doing great. Concentrate on your left foot. Yeah, I'm doing that. Okay, make sure you hit it really hard. Make sure it's landing with your, with your snare. He's like, okay, yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah, I got it. That kind of thing. And that's pretty much how it went.
Well, I find it amazing that you told us in your Twitch stream that like when you're in concert and playing a song, you can talk to somebody else right there and not phase you at all. With playing your drum kit.
Yeah.
I just find it fantastic that you can do that. You can remember all the stuff you can with the song and just be talking. Hey man, how's it going?
That must just come from muscle memory of because that's a lot of live shows are absolutely muscle memory. You've been playing this set for a number of months. Yeah. Like when it comes to a band like Testament, the set doesn't vary all that much. We're pretty fortunate if we get 3 or 4 different tunes. Testament has a lot of classics and a lot of
good ones. Yeah, right.
So it was absolutely understandable. So I always appreciate it when it's like, no, we're going to do a song we've never tried before, and if it's a challenging song, like something off a new record or like the Fall of Dome or something. I'm like, yeah, bring those songs on, absolutely. But there's been many a times I've had, sometimes you have to have a conversation, like talking with talking with Thumper or somebody, my tech Jeff Bruce, where we're actually imparting information that needs to be known right here and now, about gear, the technical aspect of something. We're trying to fix this over here. We know that you're not getting a monitor right now, but we're working on it. Okay, we'll just keep working. That kind of thing. Yeah. It happens all the time. So we try not to just have frivolous conversations, but there are times when it happens,
Sure.
That's easy. Yeah.
So we know that your first band was Dark Angel, but we saw somewhere that you recorded a demo called War God in 1985 for the band under the same name. So was this your first band, or was this like before Dark Angel, or was this just something that you recorded the demo and was just kind of a one and done deal?
Well, War God was the band that I eventually left to join Dark Angel. And actually, ironically, 2 or 3 years before before I was ever in Dark Angel, I was in a completely different Dark Angel that had nothing to do with the Dark Angel that I ended up joining. It was like just kids from high school, and I joined their band. They were already called Dark Angel, and I remember I made them change their name because I thought Dark Angel was just a little corny, and so a couple of years later, and it wasn't all that long. I remember the cops ended up breaking up our band, and it wasn't that long after that I had seen, wow, Dark Angel is starting to play concerts. And I was like, well, I guess those guys kept going. Now they're playing shows. I see them playing around all over the place. I see the name in the local music papers, and so that was just kind of very coincidental, kind of ironic that a couple years later I'm in Dark Angel. But War God was a band that was put together by a couple of the Slayer crew guys, and there was Blake Edwards, no relation to the movie director of the same name, but I remember Blake telling me, yeah, man, I could call any Blockbuster or whatever video stores. There wasn't a Blockbuster, and I could say, hello, my name is Blake Edwards, and then like a membership to your thing, and they'd be like, yes, sir, come on down, man, we'll give you any movie you want, and just you promised me free movies for life, kind of thing. And then the vocalist was named Rob Perkins, and we all got together and we're like, hey, man, and we ended up grabbing Michelle Meldrum as our guitarist. And I had already met Michelle, but I had no idea. I was already friends with Michelle. I had no idea that Blake and Rob were reaching out to Michelle saying, hey, man, you want to come jam in this band? And so that's how we started. We started off with a little 4-piece, and I tracked, we tracked a little demo. I was not in it. This was in 1984, and I was by late 84. Michelle, when Dark Angel had come a knocking, Michelle had said, look, dude, you should join Dark Angel, because I was like, no, I like our little band here, man. We're going to get out and do stuff. She's like, well, Dark Angel, I think, has a lot of potential, and they have a lot of promise to them. And, they're out gigging, and we're not going to be gigging for a number of months. Why don't you get out there and just do it? And she kind of kicked me out of the nest. And however, pretty much my first year of being in Dark Angel, I remained in War God, just rehearsing with them, just helping them out until they found a new drummer. And their next drummer, the guy that ended up replacing me, was Lee Rausch from Megadeth. And ironically, I replaced Lee Rausch in Dark Angel. And then Lee, 10 months later, replaced me in War God. So that was pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah, we did that little demo. And that was, I remember, that was my very first song that I had ever written. There was a song called Day of Atonement, and I wrote everything on it, guitar, and it's pretty horrible song. Wrote all the lyrics, wrote all the vocals and all that sort of stuff. So, it was just super fun to do. And Michelle and I ended up being friends for life, and when she passed in 2008, that's when, because I was helping out Meldrum a lot, just filling in until they got a drummer. And then everything happened that happened for Meldrum. And, when we lost Michelle, we were just beginning to record an album, and we didn't want to just drop that. So we carried forward and finished the album as a tribute to Michelle. So there you go. Cool.
So we all love Wikipedia, right? Whether it's false news or something. So on Wikipedia, it has a list of all your bands that you've been in, every album, if you sang with this band or drum with this band. So, but the name that came out the most was Devin Townsend, from Struck in Your Lad, DTP, Devin Townsend Project, and so could you tell me your relationship with them, and how did y'all meet the first time, and how did y'all kick it off to make amazing music?
we met in LA on February 26th, I believe, 1996, and it was at an Iron Maiden Fear Factory concert back in, Fear Factory was on their Demanufacture tour, I believe.
Yeah.
And Iron Maiden was with Blaze Bayley at the time, so they played this relatively tiny club in Los Angeles called the Palace. It's a well-known club. You've seen it in a lot of movies and stuff, but it is no, arena for Iron Maiden. It was
Right. Yeah.
a club, and we had a mutual friend, a guy that I had gone to school with, a guy by the name of Craig McDonald, and Craig was always calling me, saying, "Dude, you got to come hang out with me and my friend Devin, man. Like, you love this guy, man. I just watched him do a guitar clinic over at Musicians Institute of Technology there, and it was hilarious, man. It was great. You guys would totally get along." I'm like, "Okay, well, at some point, let's get together." I already loved Devin from that Steve Vai video for off the Sex and Religion record. What was the song? Down Deep Into the Pain. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that video, but it's, first of all, it's a pretty ripping song from Steve Vai, and when it comes to a vocalist for Steve Vai, you're kind of expecting sort of a paisley shirt wearing Robert Plant, big long flowing hair on the guy kind of thing. And the video is just comes out and starts kicking you right in the face. They're on this beach, there's fucking flames all over the place, and then just from the drum kit, like right to the camera, comes this effing Cenobite looking guy. He's got the crazy goggles on, his head's bald, and he's got a tribal tattoo on top of his head, and he's wearing like, just PVC leather kind of stuff. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, check this guy out. This guy's awesome. And I watched Headbangers Ball for 3 months straight just to see the top of Devin's head and hear this kick-ass song as well. I'm like, this guy has an amazing voice. This is so much more aggressive than you'd ever imagine Steve Vai to be. He's got Terry Bozzio on drums. That's cool with me. And it was a kick-ass, super kick-ass song. So I already knew Devin. And so when my buddy Craig had said, "Hey man, are you going to see Maiden and Fear Factory?" I was like, "I don't think so." He's like, "Well, because my friend Dev is going to be down there. Why don't you come to the show and I'll introduce you guys." And sure enough, we met, and I was really, really drunk back when I drank, and so I vaguely remember I was there with my buddy, the Satanic Hispanic Ray Sanchez, and Ray was there the whole time during the entire conversation, and I ended up getting a call from Dev the next day saying, "All right, Gene, man, nice meeting you last night, and we have a rehearsal set up for next Tuesday at that studio that you were telling me about. Cool, you got an address for that, and I'll see you on Tuesday." And I was like, "Okay." As soon as we got off the phone, I called up the Satanic Hispanic. I was like, "Did we meet Dev last night?" He's like, "Yes." And I was like, "Did we set up a rehearsal?" "Yes, you did at your rehearsal."
Yep.
Like, it's for next Tuesday. I'm like, "Okay, well, shoot if I remember." And so yeah, man, Devin and I got together and jammed the next week, and that was one of that was the beginning of a pretty darn super awesome, fun, and amazing relationship there, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I love Devin's music because it shows his range of music to be like on par with, like, I don't know who's on par, because two of my favorite songs are Kingdom, which just is pure raw power, and then my other song is Hyperdrive, which is kind of like a mellow, easy, laid back song. So he's got a really good range of music, So the guy can do anything. I think.
Absolutely, man. And it was, that's what was so exciting about working with Dev, is just working with somebody who had so many parameters of what they can do and are willing to do. And when we first got together, I mean, Devin, he had no filter. And that was awesome,
Right.
20-year-old kid, the fresh-faced kid that was just like, and that was so much fun, like we wrote "Oh My Fucking God" in the first rehearsal that we had. We only rehearsed for 2 hours. We had a 2-hour block, and what did we do? We had just we'd rolled over a few of the songs from Heavy Is a Really Heavy Thing, And Devin's like, dude, sounds killer. Tell you what, play this kind of beat, come up with an intro beat and then lead it into a thrash beat and then do a blast thing and then do this and do that. And I'm like, okay, gotcha. And he's like, I'll just riff over the top of it. And Devin's bouncing off the walls, like literally, physically, like taking his leg and kicking off that wall, come back over here, kicking off that wall while we're writing, oh my fucking God. And that just brought such a breath of fresh air to me. It's like, yes, this is what I've been looking for. This next level project, this next, this type of extremity that, I can't imagine anybody else trying right now, and I admit I was not familiar with Fear Factory whatsoever at that time. So, I'm just like, F you guys, man, we're this strapping. It's cool as all anything. So
yeah,
I loved making City. I loved working with Dev. And then when it started branching off into a lot of his solo stuff, I was all about that too. It's like the first solo album of Dev's that I did was Infinity. And I loved just about every song on that. And just, it was super fun and super neat. It was a really good time. And we were making really magical music for me. It was like, I don't care how other people react to this. I love this, so I'm in, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. So you're endorsed by the best of the best companies for sure. As a drummer, I'm looking at the list of your endorsements, and it's like blow my mind. So you got Pearl Drums, you got Sabian Cymbals, ProMark Sticks, and Evans Heads. Do you get approached by really off the wall companies that are like, hey, we've got this really unique product, we would love to endorse you? Like, for instance, are you familiar with the brand Booty Shakers?
That is effing hilarious. You're asking me earlier. I'm like, well, there's this one company called Booty Shakers. Yeah, approached by. Oh yeah, I was going to say I get approached by. Most drum companies are like, hey, man, we know you're a Pearl guy, Cymbals. Right. We know who you're with. We respect who you're all with. But there's the accessories, kind of things. A lot of companies hit me up, and Booty Shakers was one of them, Yes. I think they're a San Diego-based company, I believe.
Oh, cool.
But, my brother-in-law, Rick Stojak, he was, he brought them to me, and he's like, these guys would, I was talking to these guys and they'd like to chat with you. I get a lot of accessories and stuff like that offered and stuff like that. And some of them are sometimes pretty cool. So I'll be like, yeah, I'll try your stuff out. Absolutely.
Right.
So yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I've come across, on Instagram or Twitter or something, you get a follow by this odd company or whatever, and I'm sure it's just an algorithm thing. They're looking at your hashtags, they're looking at what you liked, things like that. But I came across Booty Shakers. I came across a company one time that I cannot remember the name of it, but there were things to help your tension rods stay in tune, or to help your drums stay in tune, and they looked like fish. And for the life of me, I cannot remember what the company was called, but they look like little Swedish fish or something that you put on the tention rods that holds them in place.
Lug locks.
Yes. So but they look like Swedish fish.
Same concept. That's fun.
Isn't it fun? And it's like I think the drummer for Katy Perry was one of their biggest artists that they work with. So, anytime I see like a live video of Katy Perry playing or something, I'm always like trying to look through
that snare.
I just want to see the fish. Let me see the Swedish fish real quick. So.
That's pretty fun. Hell yeah, man. Yeah, it happens. We get asked, offered up stuffs all the time, man. Absolutely.
That's fun.
All right. So we do have 3 more questions, and then we'll let you go. So on Wikipedia again, a good old Wikipedia, right? So it says that you've done 6 main projects, including Dark Angel, Death, Scorpion, Young Lad, Testament, Death Clock, and Fear Factory. But it also states that you've done 7 side projects, including Phantasm, Tenet, Pitch Black Forest, Zimmer's Hole, Meldrum, Forbidden, and Viking. could you explain the difference between what it means when they say side projects and main projects? Because according to
God
Wikipedia,
dang, shows you how much about my own Wikipedia page I know.
yeah.
They're all projects to me.
Okay, so
Started was a band, strapping, sort of evolved into a band. Let me see, Death. Nah, it was, that was, I mean, Chuck ran Death. I guess maybe the difference would be maybe, and I rarely get into the business aspect or anything, but perhaps
yeah,
that comes with the, signing a contract with a band that you are going to be exclusive kind of thing. And then if you are exclusive, perhaps you participate in certain avenues of profit sharing and stuff like that. Maybe like, hey, if you're in our band at the end of the tour, when we have this much merch money, we'll carve you off a piece, that kind of thing, maybe. But yeah, man, I'm not really sure how all of that works, but I play with bands that I have fun playing with and playing for. But I do play for, most bands that I'm playing with, I'm playing for, and
Right.
the thing that keeps me there is the fun, because
yes,
I have a career where I'll always find a way to make money. Currently in this,
Yeah.
this pandemic world, that's a
yeah,
little more challenging, but
Sure.
I've still found a way to, keep my head afloat and all that. I'm not hemorrhaging as badly as other folks are, I get that. But I'm an underground thrash metal drummer. The fact that I'm able to make a living at this is mind-boggling to me, because
Yeah.
when I was growing up, I'm like, this is underground thrash metal. The world was, oh, heavy metal is Motley Crue and Bon Jovi and Whitesnake and Quiet Riot and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, that's not that. First of all, that ain't heavy metal. I'm sorry, and two, that is rock star music, MTV music. I'm playing underground brutality here. There ain't no money in this, and just the fact I've been able to stay afloat and do what I do for all these years, I'm nobody's more baffled and surprised than I am, So I guess I've gotten to the point now where I guess that is one thing that I concentrated on when I was a younger dude. I was like, just keep at this, never disappear. Just keep moving in this project and that project and play with these guys. I just love playing with a lot of different musicians, back there in the day. But I was always like, it is going to lead to something, and
yeah.
sure enough it did, like, hey man, you get to get tied in with a cartoon death metal band, that's that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You get to go off and do, a week stint on the Seth Meyers show and, being on an Eric Andre episode and that kind of thing. It's going to lead to some pretty fun stuff if you just stay motivated, stay focused, and don't let the sacrifices that you have to make, don't let those, beat you down. There's obviously sacrifices, but I never really considered them to be sacrifices. I just always considered them to be a character building process, like, hey man, you're out here in this effing foreign country. You do not know a soul and you're living in your truck for a month because you got nowhere to go, but you're jamming with these guys and they unfortunately can't put you up, so right. I'll live in my truck for a month and I'll deal with that. Big deal, like you get to play kick-ass music and really, your heart and your soul gets to be real, real exploding with all that sort of thing. So, that they were just character building processes. Being broke or anything like that, it's just because you don't have a lot of cash in your wallet doesn't mean your soul's broke. My soul's enriched all the time, so I'm very, very, very fortunate. I'm the absolute poster child for living one's dream. I've gotten to live my dream, and since I set out on this path when I was 11 years old. So it's been 42 years that I've been able to live my dream. And some of those, it was like that for a while, but now it's all woohoo. So I'm in a very fortunate position, and I try not to take it for granted.
Sure.
Cool.
So me and James, like we're big advocates and believers in the fact that music is healing. Music can kind of pull you out of those dark places. We both kind of struggle with some depression, and so music's a big factor for kind of getting us out of those moods, right?
I agree.
Do you have anything that's like if you're feeling down, if you're feeling anything that if you're just bummed out, crappy day, what have you, is there anything that's like your go-to, like this is what I need to listen to pull me out of this funk?
The screams of children.
Yes.
Any funk.
Yeah. And the tears I did cry with. Yeah.
No, man, God, you know what? I tell you one thing, like, I'll just go with an example of the latest piece of music that brings me so much joy. And I even played it on the Twitch stream last week. My Drum Tech Thumper sent me a mashup of Unchained by Van Halen mashed up with Stevie Wonder's Uptight. And that little mashup, I cannot even begin to tell you how much I've listened to that thing 10 times a day, and that just brings me so much joy. And there's so much music out there that does bring you joy. And if the music being the great unifier, that it is. I mean, music, the universal language. It's like you could be over here, you could be over here. Neither of you speak the same language, but you like that band that speaks the language to both of you. Holy moly, how magical is that? And that is that's why my main interest my whole life has been music. That brings you down from the depths, and sometimes it'll put you down in there if you're requiring that. Sad song or this sad artist that is known for it's going to be a bummer trip for the next 45 minutes listen to this record, but sometimes you got to do it, and then you get down to the lows and you pull yourself out by cranking on some Van Wonder, the Van Halen Wonder thing, and you get to climb out of whatever funk you might be in. And that's why music is I know there are other elements of universal languages, but music is the most obvious and the most magical of all mediums for altering one's state of being. How awesome is that?
Yeah, cool. Well, Mr. Gene Hoglan, we do really thank you and appreciate you for taking the time out today to come on our show. I know that we've been talking for a year and a half trying to get you on, so I really do appreciate this, and it's been an absolute honor to talk to you. So
cool. Man, I was happy to do it, and like we had a little bit of back and forth there, and I'm glad that we're able to do it. Absolutely. I do believe that let's hook a brother up, let's help a brother out. I like doing that. I wish I had somebody like that in my life when I was growing up. Like, hey man, can you make things a little bit easier on me? It's like, yeah, but we're not gonna.
Right. You're absolutely right, because there are some PR guys that I just can't get through. Because I'm like, we got these many downloads, okay, right? And they won't budge until we get these many downloads. I'm like, come on, man.
And it's like, gosh, why? Let's help you start getting those numbers. It's very easy. I mean, Hoglan sitting on his butt, flapping his gums. Boy, that's challenging to do.